The news that his kid was stillborn is sent to American diplomat Robert Thorne, who is based in Italy. Robert adopts a newborn orphan on the advice of Father Spoleto, the Catholic chaplain of the hospital, without his comatose wife Catherine knowing. Robert and Catherine raise the boy, naming him Damien. Over the next 5 years, Robert's career takes off. He has been appointed Deputy Ambassador to the United Kingdom's Court of St. James's. Robert takes up his post and moves on to a sizable estate not far from London after the last ambassador perishes in an odd car fire started by a vagrant. But then unsettling things start happening, like Damien's nanny killing herself after seeing a black dog at his birthday party and making eye contact with it. Father Brennan approaches Robert and says he was part of the events leading up to Damien's birth. Photographer Keith Jennings discovers that a number of his images have enigmatic omens, including death predictions for people. Mrs. Baylock, a new nanny, is employed. When Mrs. Baylock begins making decisions without the Thornes' approval, such as getting a Rottweiler for Damien's protection, tensions grow. After an event where Damien attacks Catherine near a chapel, Catherine starts having strange dreams about her kid, including one in which a red-hooded jackal skeleton appears. The animals in the zoo react angrily to Damien when the Thornes come. Catherine starts to question whether Damien is having problems. Robert is confronted by Father Brennan, who informs him that Damien is the Antichrist and that his mother was a jackal. He tells them that Damien has to die and that someone in Megiddo by the name of Bugenhagen can help. Father Brennan is murdered by lightning during a storm after receiving a reprimand. When Catherine finds out she is pregnant, she is determined to have an abortion since she doesn't want a child who looks like Damien. Soon after, Catherine miscarries as a result of an accident that Damien caused, leaving her with serious injuries. Catherine confides in Robert her worries that Damien is evil while she is resting in the hospital. Robert makes the decision to meet up with Jennings and go in quest of Damien's mother. The two learn that a fire has since destroyed the hospital where Damien was born. After traveling to Subiaco, they meet Father Spoleto, who gives them directions to a cemetery. They discover Damien's mother's tomb there, and it turns out that she was a jackal after all. Robert finds his slain biological son's corpse in a nearby tomb. A gang of hounds attacks him and Jennings, and they just about make it out alive. When Mrs. Baylock pays Catherine a visit in the hospital, she induces an air embolism that results in her death. After learning of Catherine's passing, Robert travels to Megiddo, where he meets Bugenhagen and is given instructions on how to use 7 sacrificial daggers to murder Damien on holy ground. Robert is instructed by Bugenhagen to check Damien for a birthmark that resembles 3 6s, 666. But Robert tosses the daggers to the ground, refusing to kill his son. A falling sign decapitates Jennings as he reaches down to pick up the daggers. After obtaining the daggers, Robert heads to his house where he traps Mrs. Baylock's Rottweiler, which then attacks him. Damien discovers the birthmark 666 in his room. Robert is attacked by Mrs. Baylock. After shoving her away, he picks Damien up and drives to a nearby cathedral, nearly running over Mrs. Baylock. Robert runs from the police and heads to a chapel where he plans to kill Damien, but a diplomatic protection officer shoots him dead before he can. The US president, who is holding Damien's hand, attends Robert's burial while the Pope passes away concurrently. The credits are rolling as Damien turns to face the crowd and gives them a knowing smile.